States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Righty, Matt, we'll call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Von Crooks, Benedetti.
Here.
Cabawatton,
Present.
Pate.
Here.
Perugi,
Here.
Rodriguez. Here. Rozapa,
Here.
quorum present, Mayor Rozapa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilperson Von Crooks tonight.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Next item we have here is the minute of approval of the December 5th, 2022 regular meeting.
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you. Next up, we have from Plant Moran, our annual audit report. And if I'd ask for a motion here to
moved.
make this presentation part of the regular minute. So moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, unanimously so ordered. So welcome back here. Now, I think I switched up, but we'll take it away here. I think.
Thank you so much. My name's Justin Coble. I'm with Plant Moran. I'm the senior manager on the engagement. Bill Bricky, the partner on the engagement, has another conflict tonight, so he's unable to make it here tonight, but you can always reach out to him if you do have additional questions, and myself after this this presentation. Within your packets, you should have a couple of deliverables, the financial statement, which would be the larger document, the report to mayor and the city of council, that's a shorter letter. And then I did pass out a graph package that we will cover tonight. We have covered these documents with the controller's office and management in detail here. So what we thought we'd do tonight is kind of go over these documents in a little bit higher level. The graph presentations intended to be more of a summary of the financial results with some history there. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple of key items that the audit did result in. Our main deliverable to you as your auditors is to provide an opinion on the financial results for the year ended June 30th, 2022 for the city of Trenton. We are happy to provide an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance that we're able to provide as the auditors. Definitely happy to provide that, but it's earned by your team. Jill and Karen and the rest of the controller's office do a tremendous job being prepared for us. We really thank them for their hard work and service. We're out here for a couple weeks and it does trickle in a little bit after that. And so it's a heavy lift for them. We do appreciate your time and service. We really wouldn't get here without you. We are also performing an audit of the city's federal dollars. This year, it's a little bit different than in the past. The American Rescue Plan provided an opportunity for us as auditors to provide or do an examination instead of a single audit. It's just a little bit less in scope. We will be finalizing that shortly after the new year. As we kind of get into the details, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the end of audit letter. Within your packet, there is an end of audit letter that includes 3 different sections. The first is internal control related matters. We do have one item here. This is the first time we've reported this. It's really a result of the transition your IT group to the third party. And as part of that transition, somebody had to be assigned administrative access, and that individual also has access to the financial records. And as a result, that does present an opportunity to commit a misstatement. We're happy to present that we didn't identify anything that of that nature that would result in any overall concerns, but because of the risk that could result in that, we do have to communicate that to you, and that's detailed within that letter. The second part is just a required communication to the board here. And this is a follow-up to our pre-audit communication letter that we would have sent out on the front end of the audit. Had there been any significant items here, we would communicate those in this audit, this letter. And so I'll refer to this as like a non-exception letter, no exceptions in here. We did implement a new GASB 87, which all local units were required to implement. The controller's office did a nice job evaluating that. However, there was no significant changes to the financial statements as a result of that. Otherwise, the audit procedures and the plan went as expected. Before we get into the financial statements, I just want to start off by kind of commenting on the overall state of the city of Trenton. The city of Trenton's done a really nice job of kind of working through the pandemic and taking advantage of some non-recurring grant revenues. Last year, there was a little over $1 million received and spent by the city. And then again, this year, another $1.9 million through the American Rescue Plan, for which the city did expend during the current year. So I think that the city's done a nice job of managing the budget and really operating as expected throughout the year. So what I'll go through now is a little bit of the graph package that does provide some historical information just for the viewers, and then some other graphs on the legacy costs of the city as well. This first graph is the general fund revenue on a budget basis. You'll note that the current year it did increase by about $2 million. The largest increase was to the city's largest revenue source, property taxes, which did increase about 6% or almost $800,000. Part of that is just due to an increase in the millage that was allocated from an operation standpoint. And we'll kind of comment about property taxes in a couple of graphs, but that's really driving up the majority of the increase here. In addition, you'll note that the federal and state revenue did increase by about $1.3 million from 21 to 22, primarily due to additional monies from the American Rescue Plan, which was $1.9 million. The other revenue sources, really not a significant fluctuation in those year over year. From an expenditure standpoint, I think this graph tells a lot. If you look in 2019, the expenditures were $20.6 million, and in the current year, they're only 21.1. So the city's really doing the same amount of work with pretty much a smaller budget, or the very consistent budget. And when you consider inflation, they're doing a great job. The total expenditures did increase by about $380,000 in the current year. Looking at the different cost buckets here, those didn't really change, which is in line with what we identified during the audit and discussions with management, that there was no significant change to the city's cost structure in 22. This next graph talks about the combined general fund balance. You'll note that it did increase about $1.7 million. Again, this is related to the American Rescue Plan dollars that the city was able to take advantage of. And that did go right to the unassigned bucket, which is really just resources that are available to the city as of June 30 of 2022. There's some other buckets here that I'll just briefly comment on. The non-spendable bucket, that's I'll call it the turquoise bucket. You'll note that that's been decreasing annually, primarily due to some strategic internal funding that happened several years back. As that gets paid down, that money flips from non-spendable to the unassigned fund balance. And then the assigned fund balance, this is really management's plan for how they're going to spend the money in the future, and just some earmarked monies. This would be some equipment and capital project funding, legacy cost contributions, and then compensated absences, for which that money's been set aside for those going forward. So overall, I'd say that this increase is welcomed for the city. As you can see, that there has been a spend down of fund balance strategically over the last couple of years. And so now the reserves are being built back up for future projects and other strategies that the city is continuing to monitor. From a property tax standpoint, this graph tells a great story here. The city's operating, or the millages, have stayed consistent at 24.75 mills for several years. It would go back even further from 2019, but it does provide some flexibility in how these millages are being levied. In total, the revenue did increase by about 3.3, just to increases in taxable value of the city. But overall, there was no additional cost to the resident from a millage standpoint in 2022. One of the largest components of the city's budget is pension and retiree healthcare costs. You'll see that in the current year, there was a slight uptick from 2021. Some of this is due to some strategic planning related to the MERS contribution, which is capped at $2.5 million for several years going out. And as you can see, that number was quite a bit higher back in 2019 and 2020. So that's stabilized, and it's provided a lot more consistent expenditure for the city to plan for going forward. Also, the post-employment component, that's the orange box, that has fluctuated a little bit too. That's self-funded, so that will vary year over year. In the current year, these expenditures were relatively consistent from 21 to 22. Here's a story about the city's long-term debt. You'll see that since 2016, the debt's been spent down. There has not been any increases to debt for several years. In the current year, the recreation bonds were paid off, And the total amount that was paid down in 2022 was about $2.6 million. And so that these will trail off over the next several years and provide some additional funding for just other capital projects as we kind of work through the strategic plan on how to fund various capital projects and other aspects of the city's strategic plan. The city's legacy costs, obviously, this is a significant component that we just previously talked about the budget, but this provides some perspective as to where we were as of June 30th, 2022. I want you to note that MERS here, this is reported as of December 31st. So that 72% funding is a lot higher as of December 31st than it would have been as of June 30th, 2022. So this is where just the timing of when this is measured has a significant impact on the net liability. So that 72% that did increase from the prior year, which was 68. Now, on the flip side, the police and fire pension, last year that was funded at 84% and it did decrease to 70%. So there was about 11% decline in the market. And as a result, that has impacted the funding. From a pension standpoint, these are not considered underfunded. That's a 60% from a Public Act 202. So the city continues to be in sound financial position for both the pension or for both pension systems. From an OPEB standpoint, this did decline from 28% down to 24%. And this is one of the legacy costs that the city continues to pre-fund. There's about a little over $250,000 annually that's been contributed from the primary government into that trust and generating some returns there. So that's an area that the cities continue to provide a lot of attention to and resources to in the last several years. So that's all I had planned from a financial perspective. I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have, and I do appreciate the city's time and service for allowing Plant Moran to help with the audit here.
Thank you very much, Justin. I certainly appreciate all you guys' work on this. So yeah, we'll open up to the council here for questions. Councilman Peruggi?
Yes. How do we compare to other communities in downriver as it relates to both the MERS and the police and fire pension and OPEB?
The MERS and all the pension and the legacy costs, these continue to be a challenge downriver. Some of them are going to be at different funding statuses. I'd say you guys are right in the mix there. The 70% for the pensions are in line. I wouldn't say that you're underfunded. I think that that's an area that everyone is going to keep an eye on. So annually you do receive an actuary report that does provide an annual required contribution, which the city continues to make. That funding percentage, as you can see, does change quite significantly. So it's not something we need to be reactionary about. I wouldn't say. This is something just to kind of keep your eye on and making sure that we are continuing to contribute to those. From a retiree healthcare standpoint, if you looked at some of your peers, they might be 0 or just a little bit more than 0% funded. This is an area that there's obviously room for improvement for the city of Trenton, and we are continuing to contribute there. So an area that you'll just kind of want to keep your eye on too, just as that funding status does fluctuate going forward.
Yeah. Have you noticed that we're at 24%? Are there recommendations that you've made to the city?
Well, as part of Public Act 202, there was a requirement to start looking at a corrective action plan, which the city did complete. And so there is monies that have been contributed there from an advanced funding status. We wouldn't give any recommendations as to what that appropriate amount is. I think that it really depends on what the budget's going to allow for. For the city of Trenton, obviously, there's some significant challenges with some of the key taxpayers here with DTE going. So there are going to be some other resource constraints that the city's been very proactive with. So it does kind of constrain like how much you can really contribute, right? And so obviously we would say, let's contribute as much as you can and you're willing to. This is not an area that is required to be funded from a state perspective. So any money going in there is positive. I'll say that.
Okay, thank you. All set, Mayor.
Good. Thank you very much, Councilman. Any further questions? Seeing none. All right. Well, thank you again, Justin. We certainly appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Feel free to come back next year with more good news.
We'll be there.
All right, fantastic. So next on our agenda here, we have public comment regarding items on today's agenda. Oh, Missed that one there. We got the audit report part of the regular minutes, but if we could also have a motion to receive and place on
So moved.
file the financial report with supplemental information, June 30th, 2022, performed by Plant Moran. With motion and support, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you all. All right, now we'll go to public comment regarding items on today's agenda. This portion of public comment is exclusively for items on today's agenda. We'll have another opportunity for public comment for all other items at the close of the meeting. I ask that anyone wishing to speak. I'm using Zoom, uses the raise hand function found either under participants or reactions. We'll go to those in person first to give anyone an opportunity to raise their hand there virtually. If you could begin with your name and address, limit your comments to 5 minutes, and please direct all questions through me. Let's see. All right, seeing none, we'll move right on along here and we'll go into appointments. The only item we have here is for the Police and Fire Pension Board. And I'm requesting this body's approval for the appointment of Sean McNally to the Police and Fire Pension Board for a term expiring January 1st, 2027.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Benedetti,
Yes.
Camp
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Frugy,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Rezeppa,
Abstain.
motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you all very much. All right, next, we have for the 33rd District Court fines, costs, and fees from November 2022 with Councilwoman Von Crooks, our delegate gone. I'll defer to our alternate Councilman Benedetti.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to receive and place on file the fines, costs, and fees for November 2022 submitted by the 33rd District Court showing the city of Trenton owing $13,499.25. Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you. All right, now we'll go down to department heads and officials. I have a couple items from our city administrator this evening. First one here being social district permit application from LR Enterprises LLC. Take it away, Mr. Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Before you have a resolution 2022-31 from Rivertown's, I should say LR Enterprises, aka Rivertown Saloon, right at the southern end of our social district. Everything seems to be in order with it. Would move for or ask for your approval.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilwoman Pate?
If you could just let me know how many businesses are allowed to apply for this? Is there a limit?
No.
Okay.
It's geographically restricted, not number.
That number.
restricted.
Okay, good. And then because they're at the very end of the district, is there extra signage we need to put up per se, or we're just gonna,
No.
they understand where people are gonna need to?
Yes, they have to
April.
comply with the rules that are in place as far as dispensing the alcohol. And then just like all the other areas, as someone would exit the area, there'll be signage usually on our trash cans or whatever that says you're leaving the area, but there's signage just letting them know they're leaving the area.
Okay, are they going around the corner or is it just the front on
It
Jefferson?
goes
Do you know?
certain amount of feet from Jefferson west.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you all. I'll keep it with you, Dean, here for approval of purchase of Safe ID multi-factor authentication through VC3 IT, right?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Another purchase here for MFA multi-factor authentication. This is just a process. Some of you have already gotten emails where you are able to download a secondary authentication pathway so that you can get into city email and the different applications and stuff we run in the city, even if you're here at City Hall. This is really something that's necessary. It was recommended by IT Right. And also our insurance carrier has insisted that we do this so that we're less likely to have outside I don't know, bad actors or whatever get into our system and do any harm to us. So Request that you approve the attached quote, $4,914.40 to IT Right or VC3.
So moved.
Support.
There we go. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you all. All right, next up, we have a few items from our controller, Ms. Saul here. First up is the fiscal year 2024 budget timeline.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you, I have a schedule that lists that I will get budget packets to the departments on January 23rd. They will be returned to me, and the city administrator and the mayor and I will review things between March 6th and March 16th. April 3rd, the council will receive the proposed budget, the mayor's recommended budget. And then from April 3rd through May 15th, we'll have possibility of budget meetings during that time period. And the budget needs to be approved at the second meeting in May.
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered. Thank you all. Next up, we have budget amendments for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023.
Only because I do these every quarter. You got a couple. We needed to break out a few of the contractual services through the engineering department per the city administrator's request, and the other ones are just small things that are happening that needed adjustments. So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none is unanimously so ordered. And then next up, the financing of a McNeilus 28-yard side load packer financing for trash truck.
Yes, so the trash truck is coming in way ahead of schedule. So I either need to get financing or pay for it out of fund balance. So I'm here to get your approval to either seek financing for this truck over 5 years. Hopefully currently I found a rate that's under 5%. So I just put, it's a little under. So I thought 5% would be safe, because they keep telling me the rates are changing, or you could decide to pay for it with fund balance. That's totally up to you.
All right, so just kind of getting into this here too. We'll go to Councilman Cabot in a second here, but I know I wanted to ask Ms. Saul here just about the level of comfort for purchasing this outright as opposed to in installment purchases. If based on our fund balance and being able to potentially avoid the 5% interest rate. But so I know you kind of indicated in your remarks that you'd feel more or less comfortable with that.
Yes, and if you noticed on Justin's graph, the portion that we have set aside for things, a big portion of it is for equipment, and we just keep setting it aside and setting it aside. So I am comfortable with that. And there's fees every time we get a loan. And so if I get this truck now, get the next truck later, I don't know, I'm just trying to avoid some if we can help it.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion to purchase this vehicle outright. So for the purpose of discussion.
Sure. So we'll go
Support.
moved and
Support.
supported. Councilman Cabot.
Yeah, so Karen, we definitely need the vehicle. So that's without a doubt in my mind. And yeah, I know, Dean, thank you. Thank you. So we need the vehicle. My concern is, obviously, and it sounds like we have the funds in fund balance. I just said, I'm concerned with, at some point, we're going to have diminishing revenue coming in from some of our taxpayers are going away, right? So that's just my concern. If you're comfortable with it, then I'll support it.
Yes, I am comfortable with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have our DPS Director, Mr. Sargent, for a few items here. First one being the GV Cement invoice for emergency road repair.
Thanks, Mayor. Toledo Street at West Jefferson has been a constant flooding problem for years and getting worse. The flooding issue was due to the street end not having anywhere for the storm water to go. The water would pool up, causing large potholes and freezing during the winter. The excess water also caused damage to one of our water main valves in the intersection. Our city engineer designed a solution for the problem by paving the end of the street and extending the ditch to catch the storm water. Our current concrete contractor, Dominic Gaglio, was having a difficult time at the end of the season procuring concrete due to the supply chain shortage. Another contractor the city has used in the past, GV Cement, was able to still obtain the concrete, so they were hired to complete the job before winter. Therefore, I'm requesting authorization to submit the invoice from GV Cement for payment in the amount of $39,000. Funds are available in the local roads capital improvement budget.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilman Brady?
Yeah, Kevin, do we have an idea when they'll start the project once we approve these funds?
Project's done.
Okay,
We did it as an emergency repair. We had to get it in before winter really set in here.
thank you.
Mhm.
Councilwoman Rodriguez?
Hi. So I just wanted to touch on the conversation that we had earlier today. You said that, so this idea of our engineers that worked,
I'm sorry.
the idea worked.
Yes, it
plan?
worked great. We actually had a big rainfall last week and million times better. The
Okay,
ditch caught all the water. That's been an ongoing problem down there for a long time.
okay, great. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you. Next up, we have Wayne County 2023 annual permit package.
Wayne County requires annual permits for maintenance, pavement restoration, and special events. The maintenance and pavement restoration permits allow the city to perform work in the Wayne County right of way, such as water main breaks, sewer repairs, and the restoration of any pavement after such repairs. The special events permit allows the city to temporarily close county roads for events such as street festivals or parades. All three of these permits are combined into one permit. Therefore, I'm seeking authorization for the city administrator, the city engineer, and myself to sign the permits on behalf of the city of Trenton.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you all. And then next up, Campo Brothers invoice for emergency water main break repair.
On December 7th, we experienced a large water main break on Fort Street near Beaumont Hospital. Due to the depth of the water main and its close proximity to the travel lane of Fort Street, I called upon Campo Brothers to make the repair. Campo Brothers has bigger and better suited equipment for the safe excavation and repair of this water main. Therefore, I'm requesting authorization to submit this invoice for payment to Campo Brothers in the amount of $6,021.50. Funds are available in the water fund contractual services account.
So moved.
Support. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Now, we've a request to renew the cross connection control inspection contract with Hydro Corporation, Inc.
Eagle Safe Drinking Water Act requires municipalities to comply with formal cross-connection inspection program to protect the city's public water supply. HydroCorp has been the provider of this service in the city since 2010. They have worked very well with the city's water department and the commercial and industrial facilities that they have to inspect. They provide quarterly reports for all their inspections and prepare annual reports due to Eagle each year. Attached is the renewal proposal for a renewed 2-year contract. The 2-year contract is $45,888, which will be billed in monthly increments of $1,912. Therefore, I'm requesting authorization to renew the contract of HydroCorp at the stated annual amount of $22,944 and authorize the mayor to sign the contract on the behalf of the city. Funding is available in the existing water fund cross-connection control program budget.
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. And lastly, a replacement of the main entry doors at City Hall.
The main entry doors into City Hall are in need of replacement. The salt has corroded the bottom of the door frames and they no longer close properly. The doors are out of alignment, therefore making it difficult to lock them securely. These doors have been worked on numerous times over the years and no longer can be adjusted. I have provided 3 quotes for the work, with Lay's Glass Company being the best inclusive price. I'm requesting authorization to proceed with Lay's Glass Company for replacement of the doors in the amount of $17,255. The funds are available in the facilities building maintenance account.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilwoman
I
Rodriguez?
just want to touch up on conversation that we had earlier today on this. So you said the new doors are going to have the added feature on the bottom in regards to weather issues. So we're not going to have to worry about, that breaking down due to salt and
Well,
everything.
the new doors will be powder coated, which will help against that corrosion. And I found out that this set of doors is original to the building. The other
Okay.
2 sets were revolving doors. If anybody remembers back in the day, those were replaced 23 years ago,
Okay,
but this set's original.
okay, thank you.
And any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to our late items here. We've got two this evening, so I'll defer to Dean for both of these. First up, office lease for State Senator Camilleri.
Thank you, Mayor. As discussed earlier with this body, probably about 6 months ago, there was interest by then House Representative Camilleri in acquiring or utilizing office space within City Hall. So we deferred while the election was underway and everything. I think worked better for both parties, but we do have the space available. I had the assessor give me a range of where we're at per square foot for usage. This would be on the lower side of the range, but at $350 for it's not really 400. It's 486 square feet that we'd be allowing him to utilize, plus $50 for utilities. But we would also have unfettered access because we have to have the access to get to the control room, and we have storage areas in the back that the clerk and a couple other groups. I think the assessor also uses some of that storage area. Anyways, so 12-month lease is proposed, and part of the motion, because we're still trying to finalize everything, is my request to move to approve the attached lease for office space is stated in the amount of $350 and $50 for utilities to Senator Camilleri elect for a term of 1 year with renewals as stated in lease, and authorize execution of the document. Be it further resolved that inconsequential items contained or not contained in the lease are permitted so long as the city attorney reviews and approves any changes deemed to be inconsequential. That's just to, we want to get this. I want to get this in place by January 1st to coincide with him taking office 1. And but there are a couple little things that we want to make sure we tie up loose ends, and then the lease also has to go through the an office in Lansing that has to give a golden nod to it or something. So that's why I'm asking for a little bit of latitude, but we'd like to get it done.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered. Thank you. And the next last late item we have here is insurance premium authorization.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. There, as you know, you've gotten a lot of documents, and there's even more available if you really want to read through them. So we were going to have to find new insurance this year. It was kind of a later notice type thing. So I reached out, and we got pricing from MML, which we use already for our workman's comp. MMRMA, which is another collaborative of local governments pooling insurance money. And we also allowed Assured Partners, who we used Gladfelter through them, to reach out and work a quote with Travelers Insurance, which Travelers does have some municipal clients in the area. But anyways, after going through the 3 proposals, and like I said, the paperwork is in your packet. I'm requesting you to authorize the attached quote for MML liability and property pool insurance for the city of Trenton in the amount of approximately $291,581. And I'll put the caveat so I'm clear about this. We're finalizing vehicles coming on, coming off, and it's changing that premium by $100 here, $100 there. So that's why the approximate number is out there. I won't have an exact one for probably another week. So authorize the city administrator to execute next necessary documents to secure coverage by December 31st, 2022, and be it further resolved that this motion has immediate effect and further authorizes the controller to disperse the necessary premiums if needed prior to January 3rd, 2023, when you would normally approve that.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported, and Dean, I think you forgot to mention the best part that it's. a lot of-
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, this, the shining, or the positive out of all the whole bidding process is our premium last year was $389,000 and change. And this year it's about $98,000 less than that for the same period, and essentially the same coverage insurance, very, very closely modeled to it.
Yep. Any further discussion, Councilman Ferrucci?
Yes, Dean, are the deductibles in line to the previous policy?
Very similar. There are some in each one of the policies that was submitted. There's small differences between them, but as a totality, what they were given was, I actually gave them the Gladfelter policy and told them, you need to give us the equivalent of that so that there's no gap. So it's very similar.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? No. Thank you for all your work on this, Dean. It wasn't the most fun, but for good cause. So seeing no further discussion is unanimously so ordered. Thank you all. So we'll go now to our disbursements and statements and then our reports. So I will defer to our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilwoman Pate.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move to approve the authorized disbursements dated December 19th of 2022 in the amount of $745,220.01.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it is unanimously so ordered.
Thank you. I'd also like to move to approve the financial summary of November 30th, 2022, schedule of investments and cash on hand, November 30th, 2022, Board of Review minutes, December 2022, Civic Commission minutes, November 7th, 2022, Downtown Development Authority minutes, November 10th, 2022, Historical Commission minutes, November 14th, 2022, Traffic Safety Commission minutes, November 2nd of 2022, the Fire Department monthly report of November 2022, and the Police Department monthly report of November 2022.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. All right. Go to other council business now here. I will be very, very brief and just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and holiday season to all. I know Kevin will have some updates for us later, just on some slight changes and good news in terms of the recycling and trash schedule for the holiday season here, as we've got a lot more waste, to put it lightly here. But other than that, I don't have anything further for you all. So I will, well, with Councilwoman Von Crooks not being here, we'll get started with Councilman Benedetti.
Boy, look at that. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and hope everybody spends some time with family and enjoys himself. Be safe out there because apparently the weather's not going to be good this week. Over the weekend of Christmas, so that should be fun for the DPW. So tell your guys we appreciate it. And we know they'd rather be at home with their families, but if it does snow, we know they'll be out there and we really appreciate that. And all the other city employees that work every holiday, we really do appreciate them being there and hope we don't see any of them.
Yep.
That's it.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilwoman Pate.
Thank you. I'd like to echo those sentiments. I think Councilperson Benedetti said it well. We appreciate your service during the holidays, and I hope everyone has a happy holiday, whatever you are celebrating, and also a happy new year.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilman Peruggi.
I was just taken back a little bit there, Mayor, sorry. Can you give a feedback or is any data available? I spoke with Mr. Creech briefly about this as it relates to the utilization of the bird scooters. Was it beneficial for the city? Was it not beneficial for the city? I'm getting several negative comments about it. So I guess I would like to have some data to present that would say, this is what it did for us, even though we're not responsible for paying for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dean, I don't know if you've talked to them recently, but they have provided us like the statistics on some of that
Okay.
stuff before. Have you gotten anything of recent or?
No, I don't have anything that's any data that's recent, but I do know that throughout the summer, per capita, per square mile, or whatever, we were on the much higher end for miles traveled and trips taken and repeat users. So that part of it is all good and on the positive side. I did have there were a handful of, negative comments, but I would say by and large, my experience has been way more positive comments and feedback and everything from the public. Now, in the end of the game, the franchisee, if it works out financially for him or her, then I would imagine that they'll be back for next active season. There aren't many people riding them right now. But that would be just a, business decision for them. But we don't have any data that says, the restaurants have gotten a 3% increase in sales or any, there's no way for us to be able to measure that other than for a community our size with our miles, it was very popular and there were a lot of repeats.
Okay. Well, I guess several residents have expressed safety concerns as it relates to no helmet, improper age usage, who does the enforcement? I mean, those are the concerns that have been brought up. I mean, obviously, we're not going to solve that this second, but I just want to share with you what that is.
Sure. And here's the thing. So the company policy, they suggest wearing helmets, but you don't have to wear a helmet when you ride a motorcycle. So it's a really tough ask to expect people to wear a helmet when they're riding a scooter. And I mean, I've talked to different residents and they bring up the same thing. Well, they're junking the place up, or they don't like it, or what about the risk and the fall? Well, even if the operator wasn't here in town, there's still privately owned scooters out there that are ridden and used, and people are going to fall just like they did back in the day when rollerblades first came out. And that's the best parallel I've been able to give to yours and my generation. I'll share in that generation, but I think, I'm a little younger, but
I was waiting for that.
he knew it was coming.
There goes your Christmas present.
Yeah. But it really does parallel. I mean, if you think back to when rollerblades came out, it was wrist guards and knee guards and helmets and all this, and ER visits are out well, I worked in the ER and everything, and that, yes, those things happen, but the public learns, they move on. I would imagine, I won't make any more smart age comments, but back in the day when bicycles first came to be, you would imagine that there were probably more ER visits and stuff. You'd have to imagine. You don't actually know. No, so I know we're good with that. So, but anyways, so I mean that's where the deal is at. I mean, it's if they're getting used and the person's making money, they'd probably be out there again. If not, I would imagine they'll just go away.
Well, thank you. I just want to share that concern from several residents. And as far as the statements by Councilman Benedetti and Councilwoman Pate, I agree with the fact that we appreciate the services that the city has to offer during difficult times, whether it's water main breaks, police officers working holidays, firemen working holidays, anyway, having to work holidays. So thank you very much. And also, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and Merry Christmas. And of course, a Happy New Year.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilman. And Councilman Kabwatan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Likewise, as it's been said, I mean, it's been a great year. So I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday, whatever you choose to celebrate. Happy holiday to each and every one of you. You all work really hard to make the city a great place. Councilman Benedetti stole a couple of my thoughts there, but yes, those of you that are working during the holidays and it's not fun and there's a job to do, just know that it's appreciated. I expect I'll probably have to be out on the road at some point with my new role, because I think we're going to get some snow coming up this week. I don't know how much. I'm not a weather person, but I think that's probably a possibility. So, but seriously, to everyone out there, thank you for everything you do. That said, with the snow, possible snow coming up, I'm not going to play forecaster, but you know, if you're out there, you see the plow trucks, give them some room. Don't crowd the plow.
So
You
they
know,
don't ruin fences too.
exactly. So thank you. It's my turn, Councilman Peruggi. So, but no, in all seriousness, please don't crowd the plow, give them some room. And also don't plow all your snow back out into the street after it's been plowed. Can cause an accident and that gets a little sticky. So other than that, thank you, everybody. Have a great holiday and a happy new year.
Thank you very much, Councilman. And Councilwoman Rodriguez.
Well, I'd like to say that I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with their family. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And I wish you and your family a healthy and prosperous year for all of our families. And I also wanted to thank all of the team departments. You all do such a wonderful job with your management and directors. And I also appreciate whenever I call and I ask questions that you all there to answer everything that I need. And Dean, not to put you on the spot, rolling his eyes already. So I just wanted to know, do we have any updates in regards to the hospital, DTE, Solutia? As we're nearing the end of the year, might as well just ask.
Okay, so we'll go, we'll start with McLeod. That's easy. No. No, we really don't have anything new there. I mean, I see a lot of bulletins and stuff come across from MEDC looking for particular properties and everything. So last time we met, they indicated they were, you know, marketing the property and trying to keep moving on with it. Yeah, so I'll leave that there. The hospital is moving in the right direction. They've submitted for their demolition permit. There are 2 or 3 what I think are very small stipulations that they're going to need to get the permit issued, but I don't think it's going to be a challenge. So that actually probably will be taken care of this week.
Nice.
The abatement is still underway. Last time I talked to them was a couple weeks ago, and they were on the 4th floor working their way down. And that's for abatement, everything, but they haven't pumped the basement as far as I know. So I think that's going to be the last of the abatement steps they follow. DTE, actually, the mayor and I are meeting with them again next week. Yeah, next week for some conversations, and they have some stuff they want to go over with us. But that site is still they haven't applied for any demolition permits or anything, so we'll probably have more discussions or more stuff to say about that come January, February. And then I don't have anything else on Solutia either. You know, the property was transferred, and they've gone through and done some changes with the way their wastewater and everything is handled. The city engineer has been monitoring that and the wastewater treatment plant. I was told they were going to offload a parcel of the property to an adjacent landowner, but I don't know if any of that has gone through or if that's changed hands yet. So that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to our other elected officials now. Madam Clerk, do you have anything this evening?
I'd like to also just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And just mention that City Hall will be closed this Friday, December 23rd. We will also be closed on Monday, December 26th, Friday, December 30th, and Monday, January 2nd. So we're closed this Friday, Monday, Friday next week, and the Monday after New Year's. Our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, January 3rd.
Thank you very much. Your assessor was unable to be here this evening, and so we'll go to our treasurer, Mr. McCullough.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And especially appreciate the appointment, Mr. Mayor, and approval by council of Sean McNally to the Fire and Police Pension Board. Fire and Police Pension Board is very important, and it's important that we have good people, and we do, and we will continue to have that. And I think Sean will add a big value to that whole process. Also want to shout out offer of thanks to people that have served on the board, and Essen Davis on the fire department. He was with us serving in that role for a number of years. And Norris Blackledge. Norris was serving the Fire and Police Pension Board for probably 17 plus years. So we're going to get a certificate of appreciation out and hopefully signed by yourself and others. But it's important that these people step up and are in it, and they have been. So they've served very, very well. And with that, a sincere Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Mike. We certainly appreciate that. And yeah, glad we were able to make that work. I think Sean will be
Yeah,
a
thank you.
there. So, all right. Thank you. So we'll go to our department heads now. If anyone has anything for the public here, we'll go to any in person first and then any on Zoom. If anyone has any, wants to put their hand up to get in the queue. So go to Kevin here first.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a couple notes for any public that are watching from the DPW. Over the holidays, there'll be no delay in trash pickup. We're going to work right through normal schedule because the holidays fall on the weekends. The transfer station will be closed Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. The 2 weeks following Christmas, you'll be able to use your yard waste cart as a trash cart if needed. We will pick them up. Also, recyclables, we're going to pick up recyclables starting next Monday. We'll pick them up for 3 consecutive weeks due to the volume of recyclables during Christmas time. Other than that, that's about it. Christmas trees. If you're done with your Christmas trees at the end of Christmas, put them at the live Christmas trees, obviously, put them at the curb, and no need to call. We'll pick them up.
Awesome.
Other than that,
Thank you
that's
very
about
much,
it.
Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Best of luck this weekend. So. All right, Deputy Chief Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. I just want to give a public thank you to the Walmart in Woodhaven. We had our Shop with a Cop event this past Friday, and we had, because of our anonymous donors, who I also want to thank, we were able to provide a Christmas for 10 children and their families. I say their families because most of the kids not only shop for themselves, but they also shop for their siblings and their parents, grandparents. And I think a bonus to that too was Walmart at the end, when they found out that a couple of kids, the families didn't have working Christmas trees. Walmart actually donated some of the display trees that they had there and let them take Christmas trees home with them. We had a whole bunch of our officers bring their family members out, and we had some of our administrative staff come out and shop with the kids, and it was a real successful event. It was really great. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone who was involved, and look forward to doing it again next year.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's seriously really cool. I got to see some of the pictures, and yeah, everyone looked like they had a great time. It's a wonderful thing. So
Yes, sir.
thank you guys very much. All right. Any other department heads looking to speak? Not seeing any on the Zoom. We'll now open it up for public comment here. Anyone wishing to speak would ask you to begin with your name and address, direct all questions through me. And please limit your comments to 5 minutes. We'll go to folks in person first, and then those on the Zoom. Anyone on Zoom, if you would use the raise hand feature, either under participants or reactions, it'll get you queued up, and we can go from there. Not seeing any. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Moved and supported for adjournment at 7:58 PM. Seeing no further discussion, it's unanimously so ordered. A Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone.